So in the last video I talked about the kid on this page, okay? And I told you that he had 100% payment history. I thought about this afterwards. Is you guys are probably like, I told you that he had no accounts, but he had collections. Remember the 4? Where is that at? Right here. But I told you he had no payment history because he had no accounts. And you're probably like, well, how did that happen? So I will say what we did this morning was I had him click into these 4 that were showing. And when he clicked into it, it showed 4 collection accounts. And I had him click further, and it told me what collection agencies they were. Some of them told me the collections agency and the original creditor, or the original debt. Others just told me the collection agency, and I played around with Google to figure it out. We figured out what 3 of these 4 are. He had a very, very, very common name. The one he swears he doesn't know, and if that's the case, more than likely it's somebody else's account reporting to his credit bureau because of how common his name is. But the other 3 were his. But how did he get those when he had absolutely no accounts ever approved? And again, he thought he had bad credit. He does have bad credit, and kind of, but he has no credit. Why? Because those 4 accounts was utility bills. I believe one of them was cable and possibly an eviction. I don't remember, I think. But they were all nothing to do with it being approved for any credit. So that's how he has 100% payment history. Because he never had a credit card give him a minimum due, and he never had a loan or anything ever offering a minimum due, his payment history is going to be 100%. Now his payment history is green, it's the best green, but guess what? Because he had nothing, it can be green, but it's not impacting his credit score because it didn't exist. But his collections, which I blacked out who they were, the collections are impacting his credit score. And because they've had no minimum payment, because they never will, the collections, this is now negative. It's red. See that? It's red on his credit report. So that is how he has 100% payment history with absolutely no credit. This right here, without a doubt, he has possibly 3 others on Equifax. I haven't pulled it yet, but he has 4 on TransUnion that we need to dispute. Find out if they really are his, set up payment arrangements, which still won't impact the credit report because it was never money that he would pay by pay. I can't think of the term right now. But it will, even if he makes those payments on time, until it's a 0 balance, it will never impact his credit score. What impacts it is the total balance. The total balance can lower as we go, but it's not going to positively impact the credit report. But there is a way to manipulate this. There's numerous ways. One of the things that he could do, one is obviously pay it off. He can't charge it because he doesn't have a credit card. But there are certain places that I will say, if you ever private message me, I will tell you who they are. I don't know if I'm allowed legally to tell them on a video like this, but there are places that offer loans to bad credit and no credit. There's also collateral loans that if he has a car paid off, he could take a loan against that car and use it as a collateral loan. If he has an income, he probably can take a loan at a very, very high interest rate. Let's say 25% interest rate, 29% interest rate. He could call these companies, if they're his, ask for a settlement offer. Let's say they give him 50% and he has to pay these off. He could then take a loan with these negative credit card or negative loan companies, and he could say, I need a debt consolidating loan. Let's say, I don't know, I didn't add it up, but let's say it's $5,000. He could take a loan for that $5,000, either short term or a long term. If it was me, I would take a long term, so that it has lower minimum payments. Interest rate won't be much different, but I would not pay the minimum payments on that loan. If it was me, I could not have the cash to pay this off, I would take out one of those loans. I would take the lowest minimum payment, longest term, and I would take that money and pay off these accounts. Now he has a loan, and if he has 100% payment history on time with that loan, he now has a positive loan on his credit report. He now has a positive payment history that is a real payment history that will impact his credit report, and he now has everything paid off. So in 6 to 9 months, this kid will have over a 700 credit score probably. If not over 700, very well near it. Now, they will do a credit inquiry to get that loan, and that's something else we'll talk about. But because of his number of inquiries, because he tried to get credit when he had no credit, he does not want to go crazy maxing this out. So I will show you in the next video how to know when to apply for something else. Now after 6 to 9 months, that's the other thing. I did this when I had bad credit. I purchased a car at a 28% interest rate. This is when I was a single mom. I was learning how to rebuild credit. I needed a car. I didn't know what to do. I purchased a car at a 28% interest rate from Spitzer in Lorraine, and I made on-time payments. I actually made overpayments because I thought, if I can't fix this, I am not paying 28% interest on that loan and keeping it. I'll probably have that loan forever, and the car will break before I can pay it off. I manipulated my payment to shoot my score real quick. I didn't know at the time it would work because I was still learning, but it did. It shot my score. Credit Karma takes 6 to 9 months, depending. Credit bureaus, 6 to 9 months. The Credit Karma is usually 45 days later than the credit score. But it shot my score right away. When that car shot my score, I turned around and I refinanced that car very quickly. So that's my interest rate went from 28% to 9%. And do you know what I did 6 months after that? I refinanced it to 3%. So I might have had a 28% interest loan, but I did not have it for the 72 months that I agreed to. I had it for 6 or 7 months. I think it was 7 months. And then it shot my score. I refinanced it and I refinanced it. So I was only in that interest until I had to be in that interest. After that, I refinanced it. So a lot of people say, how could you tell? This is again where I can't stand when people argue with my suggestions. I had no choice. I had to have a car. I had a choice on the interest rate. Take the high interest rate or take nothing or come up with a very bad running car for $1,000 or $2,000. Again, I was a single mom. I was trying to figure it out. My thing is, I always say, don't say you can't afford something. Figure out how you can afford it. So yes, I could afford 28% for the couple months until it shot my score. And it's exactly what I did. I refinanced and refinanced until I had it no more. Now that me and my son are in a different financial situation, we don't do car loans. We pay cash for cars. Hopefully I never have to again. And if I do have to, hopefully I'm at a 0%. But that's a whole other thing because I have a belief on used cars and new cars. Totally other subject. But that is how I would tell you about his payment history and why he has a payment history when he has no history. So just keep that in mind. But I don't know. This kid said his goal is to have a house. He says that's his goal. I do believe that he would get there, but these will never get him there. He has to take care of these. So keep in mind, takes out a loan, high interest rate, manipulate it to build your score, refinance or pay it off. So that would get him something. This is exactly what or we dispute it and they fall off. That is an option. Don't know if it'll happen, but that is an option. But that is how we manipulate this score. I don't know when I'll do another video, probably tonight, but moving on.